So you want to know how to convince a judge to drop a no contact order in Washington state. Well, my name's Lance Fryrear, and I'm a criminal defense attorney located in Lynnwood, Washington. And I decided to make this video to provide some tips about when you want to try to convince a judge to drop a no contact order or a restraining order anywhere in Washington state. So first of all, what is a no contact order? What we mean here is a order that's prohibiting a defendant in a criminal charge, like a assault charge, harassment. So the defendant is not allowed to have contact with the alleged victim while the criminal case is pending. And if you're watching this video, you might be the alleged victim in the charge and you're wanting to convince the court to drop that no contact order. And sometimes that's hard to do. And we get this question all the time. So here are some tips about how to improve your chances of getting the judge to listen to you. So first of all, what's the process? First, you need to go into the court that has a no contact order and go up to the court clerk and ask the clerk, hey, can I get a form to request to drop the no contact order in the defendant's case? You'll need to give the clerk the defendant's name. You might need the case number. And usually the clerk is going to give you something to fill out. On that piece of paper, you want to put some brief reasons about why it is you want the no contact order to be terminated. And some less effective reasons are, I love the defendant, or nothing happened. And those things aren't so effective because it just sort of sounds like you're trying to protect the defendant. Even if those things are true, they're less effective. Some more effective things are, I know how to protect myself. I've spoken to the domestic violence advocate. I have a safety plan. A safety plan is where you make a plan, usually with the victim services advocate, about what to do if there's another problem. I know how to re-request an order. Or even better yet, I hear that the defendant has done some classes. And those are some things that you can put on the paper, if true, that would be more effective in improving your chances of convincing the judge to do what you want, which is, in this case, if you're watching this video, drop the no contact order. So what's the next thing you need to do? Well, typically speaking, it's a good idea to actually speak to the victim services advocate for that court. Most courts have a domestic violence victims advocate, and it's their job to help you. It's their job to provide you services, communicate your wishes to the prosecutor, and just generally be of assistance to you. They don't represent you. They're typically not attorneys, but it's important that you speak to them because they are a resource for the court. If you've spoken to the victim's advocate, the court feels better that you're making an educated decision about what to do. Next, you may want to consider talking to the defense attorney who represents the defendant. If you don't know who the defense attorney is, you could ask the court clerk. And the reason why you might want to talk to the defense attorney is at least to find out, has the defendant done anything to change their position? Typically, a response of a court to an alleged victim who's asking to terminate a no contact order is, well, I issued the order a month ago. What's different today than when I issued the order a month ago? Because if nothing's changed, it doesn't make sense for the court to drop that protection, the protection you might not ever have asked for. Well, if you speak to the defense attorney, you might find out that a really good defense attorney might have had his client do an anger management class or counseling or alcohol classes. And if you know those things, those are things you could share with the court that you learned from the attorney that the defendant has done. And that's really powerful in front of the judge. Next, the next step would be go to the court date. If it's on video, log in on video. If court is in person, show up in person and wait for the case to be called. And then once the case is called, there's going to be a prosecutor there typically. And usually the prosecutor's going to oppose dropping the order because it's their job to protect the alleged victim. But you'll still get your turn to say something to the court. And what are more effective things to say to the court? Well, things that are true, but again, avoid things like, I love the defendant, I need the defendant, stuff like that. It sort of makes a person sound dependent and more of a victim. And more effective things to say are, hey, I know how to take care of myself. I understand the defendant has done classes. I've got my own job and resources. Nothing like this has happened before. Sometimes if you have children, it's very difficult to parent, co-parent with the other partner not available. So those things are typically more effective than I love them. I love the defendant. I need the defendant. And one of the biggest tips is how you say things. Sometimes how you say it is even more important than what you say. The court is looking at you as the alleged victim and trying to make a determination. Are you an abused person? Are you under the control of the defendant? So if you sound meek and afraid, it's more likely that plays into that belief that the court already has that maybe you don't know how to take care of yourself. So if you sound assertive and firm, you usually have a better chance of getting the result that you want. And again, I'm not making any judgment about what's best for anybody. This is a video about tips to try to get the judge to do what you want if you're the alleged victim in a case with a no contact order. So again, my name is Lance Fryrear. I'm the owner of the law offices of Lance Fryrear. We're a multi-attorney criminal defense firm located in Lynnwood, Washington. We've been helping people charged with crimes. We've been helping victims. We've been helping all types of people in the criminal justice system for over 20 years. So if you need some help in this area or your loved one needs some help in this area, please give us a call. We'll do everything we can to help. We'll be there for you. Thank you.